Welcome to Beyond the Shadows podcast, hosted by Haunted Souls Paranormal. You didn't hear me talking to you across the room there?
No.
Oh, it is June 18th, season 2, episode 22, correct?
21.
21. Was 20 last week?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was because of Alcatraz. That's right.
Yeah.
21. Yes, I know. I only have one job.
Mm-hmm.
It's
all right.
See me get it right.
It's all right.
It's all right. I'll get it one day. That's what I was yelling across the room. Is it 21 or 22?
I did
Of course,
not.
you didn't hear me.
Our intro music is, my headphones are turned all the way up, and the intro music was just blaring in my ears, so I cannot hear anything if you're not sitting next to me.
Well, why don't you try taking the headphones off until they're ready to do?
Because then I got to situate my earrings. That way they don't stab me in the head for 2 hours.
Situate my earrings. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Situate my earrings.
Hey, mister. Girls.
So today's Tuesday, Spooky Tuesday. Podcast Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it is hot.
It is hot here in St. Louis.
It is, yes, it is.
It is melting hot.
It is very steamy in this room. The only thing bad about doing a podcast in a haunted location is there's no air conditioning here. So
yet,
I did build the wall. We did build the wall, which is kind of nice, is it not?
It is.
You can. Oh wow, man! If I take my hat, man, it's just gonna sweat, gonna roll down. We're just gonna do that for a while. That's a lot cooling. So
the bald head.
Man, yeah, and all the sweat running down my face. I was trying to put I got new stuff on my shelf. I just got my new blacklight Ouija board.
Yeah,
it kind of fits good with Santiago's hats up there. So
it does. Looks great.
They really pop up there. Yeah, I didn't get the string light, the LED lights I took down. I was trying to put back up and I couldn't get them. So I was like, I think they're on the other side of the room.
You were.
Yeah, I just threw them on the other side of the room. I got frustrated.
Well, they're sticky and they're sticking all together. I saw you.
Once you put them up and then try to take them down and put them up again, it's a pain in the butt because they just stick together.
Yeah.
And then it's like I was pulling stuff off and I was just like, ugh, it was hot. And of course, we had technical difficulties. We did get another computer in here. Don't have the right the cables to get the monitor and that to work. So
yeah.
We had to go back to the laptop, and it was one of 1,000, 0 of 100 complete update. So we were worried about if I was even going to be on. It was just going to be the Maddie show.
He was like, "Do you want to do your lights?" I'm like, "No, we're just going to worry about you getting on here first, and then we'll do the lights. Maybe one day when we don't have any other things going wrong."
I got all my pictures back up now. I'm almost done with my side of the room finally. Although I get my computer situation all right, then we'll be pretty good. I think everything else is pretty up.
Yeah.
I got her. She's hanging out over here. She's creepy, man. There's stuff that goes on. She is definitely haunted. I don't think we're taking her home. She's going to stay here.
Yeah.
I thought the cat was over there in the corner and knocked over the wood and stuff, and there was nobody over there.
No, we thought there was another cat in here. We were looking around. Like losers.
That was crazy.
There was no cat.
Yeah. I didn't get nothing. When we were here Sunday, though, putting up a wall, I don't know if it was just so there was so much, sawing and screwing and nailing and stuff.
Yeah.
That I didn't really hear anything, like crazy. I thought maybe they'd be a little crazy with the whole putting up another wall inside here and stuff, but they behaved themselves. They're really good. Cats didn't even come around either.
Oh yeah, because they're sawing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
all right, you want to say everybody?
Do you want to do our segment first, or do you want to do the comments?
No, let's just say hi to everybody.
Alrighty.
Hello, everybody.
And Kathy said, "Hey y'all, Pride Heart Rainbow emoji."
So is that what she said, or was that just emoji that came across?
That's an emoji came across, but it doesn't actually show emojis.
Don't show us.
No. Susan said hi.
What's up, Susan?
Brandon said happy Tuesday.
What's up, Brandon?
Mal said me being on time and actually here 2 weeks in a row is crazy. I want a gold star or something.
Mal and I have to go. I'll send you Mal. Yeah, man.
I'll send
Mal,
you
I'll
a
send you a
doll.
doll. Apparently, me and Mal have to go to marriage counseling because we were having a lovers' quarrel last night.
Oh, I'm
I
on
didn't
Mal's
even know
side.
it. It
Jeannie
was
said, "Hey y'all, hello,
Jeannie.
Jeannie."
I'll see Jeannie and Susan this weekend.
Oh yeah. Gina said, "Hey."
What's up, Gina? I'll see Gina too.
Hey. I know.
Where's your sidekick at, Gina? She hasn't been on here in weeks. She must be mad at me.
What'd you do?
I didn't do nothing. Mal saying we
Mal
were
said
on.
no dolls. Why
Mal,
not?
we were on live last night talking Paranormal Trio,
Yeah.
and Mal came on, and I was like, "Hey, Mal, what's up, my sexy voice 900 number lady?" Because she always like, "Hello, everybody." She's always whispering, and then she ignored me and left.
Mm.
Yeah, that their live was kind of jacked up last night, so I don't know. But welcome everybody, come in. Welcome new people that won't die.
Gina said she hopped on last week. It wasn't feeling well, and tonight she's got work stuff.
Good excuse.
Nicole, the lovely Nicole Grayler, who's letting us use her building for the podcast.
What's up, Nicole?
Said, I'm going to hop in and out of the podcast tonight, but I'm so sorry about the heat. We are working on it.
It's all good, girl. Did you come and see your wall?
Yeah, did you come see it? Mal said, thanks for being on my side, Mo. Nicole said, love you guys.
Love you. Nicole's the owner of the building.
Brandon said, hair is overrated, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm bald for a reason. It's nice and
Mal
cool
said,
now. Go on.
Mal said, I'll be waiting for you at therapy.
You just wait there. If I'm not there, wait 20 more minutes. I promise I'll show.
Nicole said, Grandpa's in the hospital. I'll come by tomorrow.
Uh-oh. Alrighty. It's nice. It's pretty.
What just hit?
My hat fell off the thing.
Oh, I was like, what just fell? Sorry, we were talking about things falling earlier.
It's a ghost. It's going to come on your side and sit next to you.
You know what? Come on over. Come on over.
All right. Do you have your this week is the crazy laws of the United States?
Yeah, I do.
So what crazy laws do you have?
So I thought it'd be fun to do Missouri because we're from Missouri and we live in Missouri. So one of them's just a Missouri law. And it says it's illegal to drive with an uncaged bear. In Missouri, it's illegal to drive around with an uncaged bear in your car. I'm pardoned, sorry. Why is that a law? Why did it become a law?
Who's driving around with a bear in their car?
Who's even driving with
an uncaged bear? At that point?
Yeah, who's even driving with a caged bear? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay. That's driving on weird.
If I'm driving down 270 and I see someone driving with an uncaged bear, even a caged bear at that point in their car, I have questions.
Yeah, I don't know. And it happened because there's a law for it. So someone was driving with a bear in their car that was currently uncaged.
Oh, geez.
You'll be afraid they would attack me while I'm driving.
Let's see. So St. Louis law, in specifically University City, 4 women may not live together in an apartment.
If anybody don't know what U City, that's where Nellie's from.
So, and also, it says no person may own a metal pipe.
What? I don't know. That live in that apartment, or is that something totally different?
No, it's 2 different laws, but it's all in U City.
You cannot own a metal pipe.
Yeah.
Is that a weed pipe or like a plumbing pipe?
No, like a plumbing pipe, like a metal pipe.
That's weird.
And then you may not have a garage sale.
4 women cannot live together.
In an apartment.
And you cannot have a garage sale. What?
That is no longer than 2 days.
Oh, that's
you can't
common.
have that. No, yeah.
Is that New City too?
Yep, that's all in New City.
And I know you went to Parkway South, or the schools district, but that's 4 laws, not 2.
I know.
You could have saved 2 of those.
I want to pick a different state. I'm gonna do a different state every time.
Oh, well, I don't have the same state, and I don't have Missouri.
Okay,
but mine is the lovely state of Kentucky, which says it is against the law for a woman cannot marry the same man 4 times. According to Woman's Day, a law in Kentucky forbids a woman from marrying the same man more than 3 times. Hopefully, 3rd time really is the charm.
Okay.
Why would you want to marry? What did you get right the first 3 times? You're going to think that things are going to change. I mean, I'm asking for a friend.
Divorces are expensive. So if you're going to divorce somebody, it must be for a really good reason. So I don't even know why you would marry a 2nd time. Okay. But the 3rd time?
I don't know why you would. Now, I've known people like your Uncle Chris. He married the same woman twice. I know we do have a guest on here at times that watches us that was married the same man twice. But yeah, I mean, I can understand twice.
Yeah, twice is, I guess, more common, but 3, 4 times? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways.
Okay, so in Hawaii,
yes,
it's illegal to place a coin in one's ear. Magic shows must be boring in the Rainbow State. Apparently, this strange law was enacted to protect the Kingdom of Hawaii coinage when Hawaii officially joined the United States in 1900. Just people are randomly putting, I guess magicians can't say, oh, look, you got a coin behind your ear.
Wait, why is it like it's protecting?
It's protecting the coinage, not the human that's putting the coin in their ear. It's protecting the coin.
Fact that it could get stuck in their ear and they could literally have ear damage, but it's protecting the coin industry.
Correct.
But I love how that's a law. Like,
so before we get started into our guest and stuff, you might want to hit the other comments. How do I make this screen a lot bigger on my side?
You go to the screen we're all in, right? See where we're at on the screen? You hit the bottom right corner. It's the big screen.
Okay. You can hit the rest of the comments before we go.
Gina said classic U City. Yeah. And Mal said the pipe can be used to fight the bears. Apparently you can't own one. So I don't know what else you would use to fight the bears, but
there you go. That's a little better. I can see a little better now.
Mal said,
I don't have to see the comments.
Mal said, I kept hearing corn and was real confused.
Corn?
Yeah, I think you said corn instead of coin one time.
Oh, sorry. Did I say? I meant coin.
Yeah, the first time you said coin, you said corn.
Mal has corn on the brain.
We'll just you're excused. We'll just have to
it's the microphone.
Add that to the list of your words that it's hard to pronounce.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
All right. Gina said, friend says Webster Groves has some law about a woman in an apartment, LOL. Apparently their thinking is more than 3 is considered a brothel. Oh.
Hey, where's Alicia at?
Where's Alicia? She just comes to U City.
Yeah, she's coming to U City. You can't have more than 4 in a room, 4 in an apartment. It's a whorehouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anything else?
Alrighty.
I can't see the comments now, so you're
Nope, we're all
right. Well, with that, then everybody, we will bring in our guests.
Yeah.
I say guests, not just one.
No, right? We get special 2 now. Hold on, let me now add. There we go.
She has one job.
Hey, I have to situate it all right.
Wow, you guys are a lot bigger. I can see.
Hello, guys.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
You guys have me in tears. Absolute tears. I was dying over here.
That's our lovely father-daughter banter that we can get away with. You think this is bad? You should see us on a ghost hunt.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. You guys are probably so much fun. I was dying. The minute you said riding around with bears without a cage, I was just like, what is this? Talladega Nights? We got a cougar in the car? I'm like, what's happening?
These laws that we've been doing is so hilarious. So we do them like every other week. Because the whole thing of it is we were at Lot's house in Nashville, and the lady was like, "Oh, I did this report on weird laws," and she was telling us some laws. I looked at Maddie. I was like, "We should have that on our podcast as a segment. Just look up weird laws." Because the one law was in Alabama, no, was in Georgia, that on Sundays you can take your wife to the courthouse steps and beat her with a stick that's no more bigger than your pinky.
Like width-wise.
Width-wise. It can't be no bigger than the width of your pinky-wise, but it can be as long as you want. But yeah, you can beat her on the court steps on Sundays. I was like, what? And then last week or 2 weeks ago, the guy that was on was from Tennessee, and he said that you can it's illegal to shoot whales. Mm-hmm. Wasn't it? Yep. Or illegal?
Yep. It's
illegal to hunt whale. It's illegal to hunt whales shoot whales outside your car window.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In Tennessee.
Your car window in Tennessee, in the middle of the Midwest.
Sounds common.
It's
common occurrence.
I'm like, before he left, we were like, hey, watch out for the whales, man. Good luck out there.
Yeah, shooting whales. That's weird.
I think we have a weird one in Delaware. I remember hearing it was like, I think it was like, you can't pretend to be asleep on a bench in Rehoboth.
That sounds right.
And I was like, you can get arrested for not really sleeping, but pretending to sleep.
So if you're awake, you're fine. If you're asleep, you're fine. But if you pretend you're not asleep, it's not okay.
If you're easily rousable, then you're getting a fine. Straight to jail.
Yeah, how do you determine whether a guy's pretending or he's actually sleeping?
That's what I want to know. We have a couple of weird laws. I know we have some weird ones in Delaware.
They just go up and kick the guy. Hey, wake up. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Morgan Fuzza. I am the host and owner of the Goulfriend Hour.
And I am Rachel Faust. I am co-host of Goulfriend Hour with Taylor as well. And I was into this with True Crime Tuesday. That's how we kind of started.
She's our true crime guru.
Nice.
So now you guys have a normal learning. I'm like a newbie.
So you guys have a third one too.
Huh?
You guys have a third one on your show too, but she cannot make it tonight. So
we do. So Taylor Jones, she is. I always say she's like our. Is it Janice from like the Ghostbusters? She keeps us like running effectively. Like she's always like, she makes sure that we're on time for things. She's like our studious, always researching and coming up with really cool ideas. So I'm sad she couldn't be here today, but we'll have to hopefully maybe get you guys on our podcast and then you guys can meet her.
Yeah.
Yes. Anytime. Just let us know. We just have to let us know so we can come down here.
Yeah.
We used to have our studio. Our studio used to be in one of the bedrooms in the house, so we could literally just walk in there and turn everything on. It was great.
Yeah,
but it was so like me and her were like so on top of each other. So now we're like spaced out. We have our own little, like you said, her whole pink and Twilight stuff over there and stuff. But
I loved it. I thought you guys were in two totally separate locations. So when you guys said you had a divider and you were same place, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're actually I'm looking right at her across the room from us and stuff. So yeah, we're actually like, hey, what's going on?
But it was just always something that
I want to get a Nerf ball to throw at her at times. So, but all of a sudden people just see a ball come in the camera.
It's gonna hit me in the head.
So what got you guys started with the podcast?
Yeah, so I have had I've been sensitive since I was little. I've had paranormal experiences. I've grown up in a very haunted house. And so it's something that I've loved my whole life, and I teeter-tottered on the idea of a podcast for a really long time. And then I don't really know what got into me. I mean, I think the universe was just kind of universing, and I was like, all right, I picked up my iPhone, my headphones, and I was like, no better time than today to start. And I was like, let's just talk about experiences. Let's kind of figure out, what our niche is, and really start dipping our toes into this. Cause I feel like you watch all the shows and you get to see all the paranormal investigations. And I followed so many paranormal teams, and I was like, I want to do that. Like, I really want to get into that. And then I was like, well, I also love true crime, but nobody does true crime better than Rachel. So I was like, all right, let's have Rachel on. And I knew the minute that I had her on, she was just an absolute rock star. So I was like, she has to join. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna volunteer you. I'm gonna say, hey, do you want to be on this podcast? But I'm gonna haunt your life until you join. No, I'm just kidding. But I did ask her, and luckily, I got very blessed for her to join. And Rachel, I'm gonna pass it over to you so you can kind of talk about your love for Halloween and true crime and all things spooky.
Oh, yeah. So that's how it, I think, started. You invited me on and were like, hey, I'm doing this podcast. I was like, I need another spooky podcast in my life, of course. And coming from all things Halloween, my love of Halloween, and we were just kind of chatting about that. And I remember we did a case. I can't remember which one we started with. And after that, I remember her calling me afterwards and was like, do you want to do this every week? And I'm like, sure. So definitely out of my comfort zone. I work with dogs all day long. So it's a fun little side piece to my life.
That is
definitely different than dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. That's so cool. That is like, I am one of those people that love true crime and then also the paranormal. So like being able to like bring that both in, that is awesome and so cool.
And I'm like the newbie to like the paranormal side of things. Like Morgan has kind of like thrown me in because she'll say somebody's name or be like, this person. I'm like, who is that? I'm like, I know nothing. I know nothing.
Don't feel bad. I've been doing this for 5-something years and I still don't know everybody. People are like, hey, do you know so and so? I'm like, no.
No.
If they're not in my like immediate circle or anything, nope, I don't know them. Sorry. I don't watch the shows. Everybody asks when we go to like event festivals and paracons and stuff, and we do, we have a booth or whatever, and they're like, what TV shows do you watch? I'm like, none. They're like, you don't watch nothing? I'm like, nope, I do it for a living. I'm like, I don't watch none of them. So because they always want to ask you, well, have you watched this one? And I'm like, nope, sorry, I don't. So how long you guys been in? How long now? When you guys started, when she asked you to come, were you doing any paranormal before that?
So I wasn't personally. Mainly, I've just been doing a lot of my whole life. I think I've just been kind of on this like journey of like honing in on my own gifts. So I have had a couple of spiritual mentors, kind of helping me with my. I can't really put a name on it, to be honest. And that's kind of what this podcast initially started with, was kind of delving into different aspects of spirituality, different aspects of, hey, what is your opinion on this? Why do you think this happens to psychics, mediums, and kind of trying to figure out why I was the way that I was. And, is this what kind of gift is this? Is it a gift? Is it a curse? I still don't know. But that was kind of the journey that I was on, and kind of doing these, what I call like little theory papers. So I've been doing a lot of just getting theories together and testing them out, whenever I had them all kind of together when we started to investigate, which me and Taylor have done our first investigation just recently. I think that was back in, was it April or March? I want to say it was either April or March at Samuel Miller Mansion. And so I knew that I didn't want to start investigating and really diving into it until I had figured out my gift a little bit, because I feel like when you jump into that kind of thing, you want to make sure that you're doing it right and you're not kind of opening up yourself to some, uncharted territories and putting yourself in a bad position. So I've just been kind of learning more, educating myself, and then, putting together these theories to test out when we were ready to start investigating. And so we just recently kind of got to that point.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're like newbies to it.
Yeah. We are. We're baby. Yeah.
That's so exciting. That's so exciting though, is that you're able to not a lot of people feel that they can expand that part of themselves and expand that gift. So the fact that you're able to be like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing it right, I'm doing it this, and then I'm gonna go out. That's amazing that you're able to take that path with your abilities.
Thanks. Yeah. It's been a long road because I'm about to turn 30. So it's been 29 years of a lot. Like, I'm not a stranger to the paranormal itself. I'm just new to the tools and actually using them and purposely seeking out the paranormal instead of vice versa, instead of, that waking up in my bedroom at night and I have spirit and I'm like, oh, we're not doing this right now. It's like 3:00 in the morning. It's 2:00 in the morning. Go back to bed. I'm going to sleep. Go walk through a wall. Go do something other than stand here at my bed at night. So I'm like,
get a number.
Yeah, I'm like,
do I take a number?
Hey, if they had to take a number, this would be like Beetlejuice. They'd be on like 370 million thousand. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it's definitely I don't know, it's a little nerve-wracking. Like, I give you guys kudos because doing our first paranormal investigation, I realized it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think I was more nervous to like walk in somewhere kind of blind and be like, okay, I'm the tool and I'll pull out the tools later, but I'm going to try and like feel this out, not really knowing what you're going into and what you're going to get. And so that takes a lot of guts and it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of, sitting around and really just trying to gather that tangible evidence. So I thought that was really, really cool.
I call it's like fishing.
Yeah.
You just go and sit and have to wait.
Line.
That's my thing, is fishing. I'd rather go fishing in the building than in the lake.
Yeah.
Fishing for spirit.
Spiritual fishing. I like that.
Yeah, spiritual fishing. So what got you out? Have you been in the paranormal too, Down?
I have not. Just being in the podcast, like now, just doing something, I want to go with them the next time. I am definitely I'm not, everyone's like, oh, yes or no ghosts. And it's just like, I'm not a skeptic, but it's just like, hey, in the middle. In the middle there. I think like going into it, what was it, a couple weeks ago? This is my first like weird thing that's ever happened. So we were in the middle of a podcast and all of a sudden everything got weird on my computer. I hear in my headphones this like man's voice. And I was like, what just happened? And so I'm texting our group chat behind. I was like, am I just frozen? Did you guys hear that? And they're like, you're just frozen. Yes, we heard it. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. My computer, the mouse kept doing this like all around. Like wasn't even touching it. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. The computer just died. And after that, was it your mom who was at the house with Maisie?
So my mom was down visiting. And what was crazy is, so my daughter, I definitely think, fortunately and unfortunately, she has inherited this little family gift. And so I've noticed that there's certain times where we've podcasted and she's woken up when weird things tend to be happening. So after we were on with Dave Giuliano, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He works in the demonology realm. He had owned and started the first ghost hunting equipment and all of that. Like he has so many hats. But he was talking to us specifically about Ouija boards. He said, when I go into a home, the very first thing we do is, we look for that kind of stuff and we ask them, to give it up and to kind of clear the space. And right as he said that and was explaining what he does, what was so strange about it was it was loud. It was a man's voice, and it said stop. And we were like, and then I'm not good at hiding my face at all. I'm very expressive.
So we didn't even TikTok, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
We like anything.
It was crazy, like, because we didn't notice that Rachel had frozen at that point. So we just kind of were like talking, and Dave was like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, I did. And so then we look over, and Taylor goes, "Oh my God." She's like, I think she's frozen. I'm like, what? And as soon as that happens, Rachel's like, "Did you guys hear that?" She's like, "Something came over really loud, said stop in my earphones, and I can't get my computer to work. Everything just crashed." And I was like, well, I'm like, in true Goulfriend Hour fashion, this is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. We have malfunctions. My light started to like dim. Like I have just like a crappy square just computer light that helps light everything up, and it started to like dim and then come out really bright and dim again, and then like it shut off. I've had, what was the other thing that happened? I feel like we've had me and Taylor had a voice come over the podcast once, and it was like sound like a little gremlin voice. I don't even know what it said, but I'm like, we should try and blow that up. But yeah, we think weird things happen all the time.
So that was like my jump into it.
yeah. And my daughter had woken up when this all happened, and my mom said, I was downstairs, and she's like, your husband put your daughter to bed. Like she was sleeping, she was out. She goes, the minute that you started to I was watching your podcast downstairs. She goes, you guys started having that weird voice, and she goes, all of a sudden I heard Maisie wake up. She starts screaming, and Matt was like trying to like wake her out of it, and she was like having a full-blown night terror. So it was just really odd. Could it have been coincidence? Yeah, but knowing our family history, knowing my daughter, I'm like, well, that's good. That's great.
Very big, gigantic coincidence if it is.
Yeah, that's a huge coincidence. I'm wondering whose microphone that voice came over, though.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Somebody's microphone. It's probably Dave's.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah, he's probably got all the creepy stuff at his house. Like, so yeah,
it wasn't, oh, maybe we heard it. It was just clear as day. Stop. In this like man's voice. And I remember seeing your face before everything like wiped out on my computer.
Yeah, it could have came across his microphone and you could have heard it through.
If that happens on our podcast, I'm simply taking the headphones off and I'm simply going, good night, everybody. It was a great podcast. Good show. I gotta go.
After that,
you're talking okay,
and I was just like, well, that's my exit there. That's it.
See y'all next week.
We have weird things that happen to ours, but it usually is the internet going out on us.
It's usually just technology.
Yeah, that's like the old. We used to do it in the bedroom back at the house. We would have like all of a sudden we're talking, poop. We would just go off the screen, and the guest would be on there with the chat, and the chat's like, "It's okay, it happens all the time." They're just talking it up, and all of a sudden we come back on. They're like, "Hey, we're back," and they're like, "The chat was keeping me company. It's okay." I'm like, so the chat's really good about that. If something happens, they're like, "It's okay, they'll be back."
There you go.
Yeah, that one.
We don't have that. We haven't had that problem. Knock on leather or whatever.
I was gonna say never say never. We're gonna knock on wood for you with that one.
Yeah. Well, we're the only ones here that's on the internet, so it's not. There's nothing else here. So
we did thought we caught something. It was the second podcast here. And so the building owner, she has cats here. Well, she used to have a cat feeder that would talk. And we're sitting here, and all of a sudden we hear this woman's voice. And we both look at each other. We both take our headphones off, and we're both like, what was that?
And I'm looking at him,
and we're like looking up in the doorway. We're like, what's going on? And we're like, it was the cat feeder. I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah. The cat feeder had a woman's voice, said, "Here, kitty, 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 time to eat," and stuff. And it's in the other room back in and I was like, I looked at her, I was like, you heard that woman's voice, right?
I was like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it wouldn't be the first time.
That turned off. We finally got that turned off. That freaked me out. I was up here by myself one time and I heard that I was doing a podcast and she wasn't here for the podcast. I was doing another guy's podcast and I'm sitting here talking and all of a sudden I hear, kitty, kitty, time for, and I was like,
who? Excuse me,
I just froze, like all the hair stood up on my body. I was just like looking in the doorway, like waiting for a lady to walk through. And then I was like, oh, it's that cat feeder. I was like,
oh my
we got to turn that off.
That's amazing.
The guy was like, is there something wrong?
No, it's time
He's
for
like,
Yeah.
did you freeze? I was just looking.
So if you
like,
see our heads turn this way real quick,
yeah,
it's fine.
they're always looking at something in there. But we have a wall up now. There used to be an open, like a whole room, open room.
Oh, that's the
now
worst.
but now we have a wall up, so you can't see what's. It's a way of keeping the cats out, and then she's getting some air conditioning in here for us.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say when you have those
everything.
big open spaces and there's like shadows or something, I'm like, that's the worst because then you're like podcasting, you're like,
yeah, and that was the thing earlier is we thought we had a cat in here because I built the wall Sunday, and I put some drywall up to keep the cats out and everything, and we thought there was another cat in here because a bunch of wood fell in the corner, and I'm like, there's another cat over here, and I went over there with the flashlight. I'm like, there's no cat over here. I'm like, that was weird.
so were you saying earlier that you think I have a haunted object? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
the doll
her
right
sitting next to me. The Japanese doll sitting next to me.
We had a REM pod last week over there. And
No, we
it's
had a
funny,
REM pod. The first week we were here, we brought a REM pod up, and we set it on top of her before the podcast started, and it just nonstop went off, like constantly. I was like, okay, we see you, thank you, and it kept going. And as soon as we started the podcast, it went off. And then as soon as the podcast ended, it went back off again.
So we're like, okay, maybe she doesn't like to be videoed. So last week you had the REM pod up there. We're talking just like this on our podcast, and all of a sudden we hear, and I see the pod, and I see the REM pod go off there, and I look over and I see it going off over there.
And I'm like,
he goes,
like,
what was that
what's
noise?
that noise?
I'm like, your REM pod just went off behind you. I'm like, oh
I was like,
my
what's that
God.
beeping noise? It's sitting right next to me going off. I'm like, what's that beeping noise? I hear a beep, 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 beep. I'm like looking around.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
I bought her at an antique mall, and I just liked how she's, like a geisha gal and everything, and she just looked kind of creepy. So she's been in this building for almost 3 months. So
very cool. Can you lift her up? Or can you lift her up for the camera?
Yeah.
I just wanted to see her
Hold on
closer.
Gosh.
Very cool.
She's moved and
I didn't realize she was in a box. I'm blind. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm
You're good. He's blind too, so it's fine. Yeah, she is beautiful.
Oh, she's so pretty. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, she has moved in the box.
Oh my gosh.
she's got a drum and everything. I don't.
That's awesome.
When I first brought her here, me and the owner of the building were sitting downstairs, and I put her like in this box like this, and then I looked at Nicole, and she was in the box like this, and I was like, "Did that doll move?" I was like, "She's like, yeah, she's moved. I've seen her move," and then she was back like this again by the time we were leaving, and I was like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna keep her here." And and see what happens. But I don't know. We haven't given her a name, so I don't know what to name her. We've had another doll here. We usually take like dolls to like haunted locations.
Yeah.
And then like them spend the night there or whatever with us and see if something attaches. And we've had a couple of dolls. There was one spirit here that took the doll's name was Susie. And then we sell them and stuff like that. And Nicole's like, you gotta stop stealing my spirits. Like, you keep bringing your dolls here, taking my spirits. I'm like, I could bring you more. All I gotta do is cause the vortex in the basement,
There you go.
So,
conjure up a portal.
You've already done it. You've already done it.
No, I didn't. Stop, man.
Yeah, you did. Okay, Nicole can vouch for it.
I put 5 mirrors facing each other.
Oh my! Are you nuts?
Paranormal 101 mirrors or portals, and
that's like,
I wanted to try.
Mirrors freak me out. I don't do mirrors. I don't like mirrors. I had one across from my bed for years, and the things that came through it, I'm like, I don't do mirrors. Huh?
Put it across from your bed.
I never knew that growing up, and my room was like a very odd, because we had old house, and like it was like oblong, like it was just very like, it was long, but it was like slender, and so like in order to fit like my bed, I have this weird like giant slant in the ceiling, so my bed like went in that corner, and the only other place to put this dresser with the mirror was like right across. And when I tell you the things that I saw like come out of that thing, I ended up like, I was like, nope, we are binding this, we are cleansing it, like we are not doing that. I'm so funky with mirrors.
Yeah, I was kind of like you growing up. I'm sensitive. So growing up I would see things, and it's generational for me too. You know, my mom's sensitive, my grandma's sensitive, and we lived in our apartment there, I had a mirror facing my bed, and for the longest time, this was before we got into the paranormal, and I was like, I always felt like I was being watched before I went to sleep. I could never find out why. And then all of a sudden I started getting into the paranormal. I was like, nope, turned it a different way. And I've never felt like I was being watched again. But
yeah.
So Nicole has this mirror that she got from a lady. Apparently people just drop stuff off here at the building that they don't want no more. They're like, yeah, this is kind of creepy. You can have it. So she got this mirror, and the lady said that her grandkids didn't like the mirror because the old lady that was in the mirror creeped them out. So Nicole got the mirror. It's pre-Civil War mirror, so it's pretty old.
It's beautiful though.
So we call it the Legacy mirror now. As a name, Nicole had a birthday party with some friends. They lost time in the mirror. They were playing with it, and they didn't realize it was like almost 45 minutes or an hour. And they
were they
scrying?
Like, were they scrying in it?
Yeah, they were looking in it. They started off with the whole let's play Bloody Mary kind of thing, and then they were just like looking in it and seeing things. And then next thing you know, it was like 45 minutes to an hour, and they didn't realize it was that long.
It's like time warp.
Right. So I took the mirror and thought, hey, let's put it down in the center of this area, because down in the basement it's a butcher shop. So the building we're in is an old restaurant. So it's in a kind of a triangle type little segment in the basement. So I put the mirror there, and then I put two other mirrors facing each other. So it's like a little room of mirrors. And you sit down and you can stare into the mirror. We've seen shadows move on the ceiling because we have like a red light behind us and stuff. And it's really cool. The creepiest thing that's happened to me was I was looking into it. My face looked like a skull. Like, not like my skin was tore off, but it was like clean. It wasn't like bloody, but it just looked like a half a skull.
What?
And I blinked my eyes to like refocus. And when I blinked my eyes and looked in the mirror, my reflection was looking to the right. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I stood up. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And Madison's done, and she saw things. And we were doing an Estes method in her, and they said they called my name. And they don't usually get my name called by full name.
Yeah.
And they said, we know what you did. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, in the basement. I was like, okay. So I went down and turned all the mirrors around again, so they weren't facing each other.
They called you out. They said,
So that's what I told Nicole. I'll just bring more spirits to your place. That's okay.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
like, oh. She's like, well, I think that.
I'll tell you guys. So one of the biggest things that, like, I feel like you either have people who have no experiences and they come to the paranormal for a curiosity standpoint, and then you have the people that have been like tormented. And I was definitely classified as like a kid that was like absolutely tormented for a really long time in my grandparents' house. And I figured out in a dream that there was 3 like relatively decent spirits that I think were more, I still don't know if they were guides or guardians, what they were. This one spirit, can I curse?
Yes.
This raggedy bitch.
Yes,
I was like, let me tell you. Yeah, I was like, I was so mad because this one spirit, I was like, if we could physically throw hands, I probably would go toe to toe with it, because it just my whole life, I think it's why it took me so long to get comfortable with the paranormal and not be super afraid of it. But the mirror thing, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I still don't know exactly what it was. I don't like to do the whole demonic thing because I think that's very few and far between from, what we see in Hollywood. And but I definitely think it was very low vibrational, and it did not have good intent. And it would just constantly like appear to me as, just everything that I was afraid of. I was afraid of the dark for a really long time, like up until I was like 17, 18. I'm still a little bit afraid of the dark. I don't love it, but like not as bad. I would sleep with a nightlight, which I'm not ashamed of. I was, like 17, 18 with a nightlight in my room, but it was because that's what this thing played off of. And it constantly, always stayed, if the hall light wasn't on, I could see it, I could feel it, and I always talked about it on the podcast, and I always ask some of the professionals about this because I had a dream where it finally showed itself to me, and it kept trying to, I guess, like as an illusion, try and trick me into thinking, like trying to get me to come to it. And it would use people that I was like longing for, familiar to. And so at the time, my mother wasn't in my life. And so as like a younger girl, obviously you want your mom and so on and so forth. And so, it was a dream where, long story short, she was standing at the top of the stairs. And when you would like look up my staircase, it didn't have like a banister. It was just like a wall. So you couldn't see it from the living room, but this light was just shining down the hallway in my dream. And I went to the bottom of the stair. And when I looked up, my mom was standing there, and she's like, "Oh, come with me," like very like gentle. And I was like, something doesn't feel right about this. And it wasn't like your normal dream. And so I was like, this feels very like, I feel like I'm in danger. This doesn't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And the more that I tried to resist it, like the angrier it got, and finally showed itself to me. And it just was disgusting, like snarling teeth, pits for eyes. Like it was black eyes. Like it was the scariest thing. I think to this day, when I think about that dream, I get chills. It still like just makes me sick to my stomach because that's how like just sinister it was. And what was crazy was as I got older and I started to learn more about spirituality, my native background, and just trying to keep my area cleansed, saging, and just always keeping like my area clean, my evil eye on the door. And I never thought about this mirror. And so it found a loophole. And that's essentially what was kind of messed up, was that I would feel safe when I would go into my room, and I was a typical like flick the hall light on, run up the stairs, run all the way to the back to get to my room, shut that door, and I felt like, okay, I'm safe. I'm home ground. Mm-hmm. It was like when you play a game of tag and you're on home base. So you're like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. So I get to my room, but then night would come and I would fall asleep and I would wake up the same time every night, and I would look in that damn mirror, and there it was. And it would never come through the mirror, but that's how it would intimidate me. And so that's why I've always been very weary with mirrors, because although you may be able to keep, you may be able to put your boundaries up, if you don't think about the mirrors and stuff in your house, which I think is just good food for thought for people, just I guess based on your belief system too, it's very much a portal. It's very much I always call it like the spiritual teleport. Like it's something that I don't understand how it works. I don't really know, the science behind it or how that works, but I can speak firsthand that this thing that tormented me for a long time, I didn't know how to bind a mirror. I didn't know how, other than just to smudge and cleanse. And so it would just felt like I had a huge window just across from my bed. And this thing used to just be like, okay, like you can keep me out, but I'm gonna sit here and I'll keep you up. And it was really creepy.
Yeah. A lot of people
to get rid of that mirror.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you something. When my grandparents,
I'll take it. You can bring it to the mansion here. Send it to me.
When they passed away, the first thing we did, I was like, get it out of there. I was like, whatever you got to do. I'm like, put it to the curb. You don't want that thing.
People.
Well, they say mirrors are like portals. So,
portals.
Portal. I said,
there you go.
Stop. They always make fun of me.
He says portals.
Getting bullied. Anyway, they say it. So I'm wondering if it was like sitting there watching from that edge of that, and then trying to get you to invite it, like thinking that your mother and stuff, to make it cross over for you to invite. Come on in, to come in, to give permission to come across and stuff. Which thank God you didn't, because
I just was too afraid of it. I was so afraid of it. But the craziest thing was, and it was kind of liberating because we just recently, what is it? It's been about a year now, maybe a year and a half. After my grandfather passed, we were like, all right, the house, we're going to sell the house, get all that done. So we cleaned out the house, and me and my daughter had gone to the house, and, you know, I wanted to say my goodbyes. And so we were sitting in the living room, and I was singing a song to her. And, you know, for me, like, music has always been when I'm trying to like lift that vibration or center myself, like that's my thing. So music, you know, I was like, I'm going to say my goodbyes. I'm going to leave this a happy place, singing You Are My Sunshine with my daughter, and we're having a great time. And she turned white as a ghost, and she turned around and she said, Mommy, I'm scared. And I said, why? And I could feel it. And I'm like, oh, this mother effer. And so the mama bear in me was like, I'm not this little girl anymore, and you're not going to scare my kid. And so I turned around and she said, I'm scared of him. And I said, who? And she's like, the thing. And I have it on video somewhere, and I really like, I'll have to show you guys, but she kept talking about it, and it was like scaring her to the point where she started to like cry. And so finally I was like, I was like, me and you are going toe to toe. I was like, you're not welcome here. You're not going to scare the new family that moves in here. And I was like, we're not doing this. And I drew that boundary, and literally I heard like physical footsteps. It sounded almost like, you know, when you're like a dog or like a cat, like runs across the floor, like that sound of like the nails on hardwood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what was crazy about it was our whole house was carpeted. It was the weirdest sound I've ever heard, but it just like, I heard it run across where like that hallway is to where my bedroom was. And then I felt like that was it.
Wow.
Had some select words.
Yeah. Well, and people
Rachel,
also
have you had anything like that happen to you?
I've never. No.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
What do you mean? Yes, I did.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's my favorite story.
A child.
It's a spooky story.
When my daughter was 3, she's now 5. You know, that 3 a.m. in the morning, I just hear bam, 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 going through the house, coming to like find my bedroom. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? And so she's like telling me that there were spiders in her bed. So she's like, there were spiders in my bed, and there were spiders. And we're just like, what is happening? And so we finally get her calmed down. And the next day, we're riding in the car, and I was like, you know, what happened last night? We're like, why were you so upset? And she was like, when I was running to your room, the guy that scratched out our eyes in the pictures was standing in the living room. I said, excuse me? She said, the pictures of us in the dining room, there are these like 3 like canvas. She said, he scratched out our eyes, and he was in the living room. And I was just like, huh. Okay. So that just like, but you know, little kids are like the scariest, but ever since that, like nothing's never happened again. But that is my one and only. Now I can have
and your ghost cat.
And we occasionally hear a ghost cat. You'll hear like these faint meows down here in our basement. And there was one day, and we caught it on camera, and it was just like this little, and we like looked everywhere. There was not a cat outside. There's not. So maybe I need to get
some residual cat energy there.
A cat feeder.
Yeah,
here, kitty,
cat
kitty.
feeder. Yeah. Here, kitty, kitty, time for dinner.
I'm telling you right now, it's gonna scare you more than the cat will. Oh my gosh.
She got these cats here, and we investigated the one night. We were here investigating, and I about pissed my pants. The cat. We were in the dark. Sitting up in this room. I was sitting in Madison's chair actually over there, and I'm sitting there, I'm just relaxed, and we're doing, you know, listening to the Phasma box. So you're kind of, you know, concentrating on what's being said. And the cat just came right between the chair and my back of my leg and rubbed, and I about jumped out of it. I was like, holy shit. I was like, what? And I was like, damn cat. I was like, this ain't gonna work. I'm like, this investigating stuff with cats ain't working very well. So yeah, but yeah, you probably got some residual cat energy there.
Yep. And then the guy that scratched out our eyes in the picture, I was like, I don't tell me.
Well, you know, that would have been kind of weird though if you would have went into there and then they were scratched out, and that would.
no, I would have not been here anymore.
She's like, okay, so next thing we're finding a new house.
Yeah.
She's
We're
like,
moving,
I'm not
and it's staying
living
here
anymore.
with the pictures. I'm keeping the pictures here too.
Yep.
They're not coming with us.
Mm-mm.
Well, they do say, like, we get a lot of kids, and it's funny is that when we're at Paracons and metaphysical fairs and stuff like that, we get a lot of 8 to 12-year-old girls, not mostly boys, but they're girls that want to talk to us, that, like, I see things, or, they say my daughter's weird. And I'm like, why is your daughter weird? Well, she talks to things. And I'm like, okay. So then I, get down on their level, and I'm like, okay, what are we talking to? Yeah. Well, there's a guy that lives underneath our house that has no legs. I'm like, okay, well, that's not an imaginary friend, and the one girl was like, I have a little girl in my backyard. She's constantly wanting me to play with her. And I don't want to play with her. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, and then I got this old man that's looking in my window at night. Like, looked at her mom, like, you might want to have to check that one out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That might be a neighbor.
Yeah.
I want to check that.
We did that whole check that one episode.
Yeah.
Found this, like, list of, like, the craziest things kids have said. And it's like, no, absolutely not.
Okay. But here's the thing, and we've talked about this, Madison and I, and we talked about it. Kids do not come up with that.
No.
They have to have seen something to come up with something. They just don't come up with that. I know there's like, well, that's because they got a great imagination. No, I don't think a kid comes up with that because they don't know how.
Imagination is from experience, so they take their experiences and it mashes it up. So if they haven't experienced that, I'm with you on that.
Well, if they've seen some guy underneath the house with no legs, they had to have seen it somewhere.
It's like Rachel, like your daughter, like she's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to say that the man gouged their eyes out. Like, how does the kid just randomly come up with that?
Yeah. I was like, absolutely.
There's a Barney episode.
Hey, I don't know. I wasn't allowed to watch Barney.
The Wiggles, they were scratching eyes out though.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean, you have to figure out. She had to have seen. You know what I'm saying? There's something that she had seen to do that, to come up with that. Kids just don't come up with random thoughts like that, especially paranormal and creepy stuff. Watching cartoons and stuff like that, they can come up with funny kind of stuff, they say. But when it comes to the creepy, spiders in my bed, and that man standing in the living room, or Morgan, like your daughter was like, that guy is scaring me. They have to see something to do that, and parents just like, oh, my kid's weird. No, your kid's not weird.
And it's funny that you said that, because that's literally, so people always ask us, they're like, why is your slogan like, let's get weird? And I'm like, because my whole life that I was that kid. Like, they were like, oh, that's so weird, or you're so weird, or like, why is my kid being weird? And it's like, weird's not always a bad thing. Sometimes weird just means that you're extra gifted, or you're, special in your own way. But like, there's nothing wrong with being weird. And so I'm like, we're going to change the stigma on that, because I don't like how weird has a negative,
Yeah. Well, and we say all the time that people are scared of what they don't know. Yes. And if they don't know about the paranormal, they're scared of it. They make fun of it. They say, "Ooh, we were just at a strawberry festival here in the town, and we had a booth set up." Well, we were in a building. Friends of ours own like a kitchen and bath remodeling place, and we were on the corner of this old building, and we were inside, and we had our sign up. We said, "Come on in, Haunted Souls Paranormal," and people were like, "Oh, don't touch nothing. You're gonna bring something home." Or I'm like, "Come on in and look," and they're like, "No, you got scary." I'm like, "No, we have candles, and we have stuffed animals and backpack. We got all kinds of stuff." Even though they got skulls in them, not faces, but it's still backpacks and teddy bears and Care Bears. Yeah. But and people are like, I'm like, they're so afraid of that. They're just like, they see the paranormal thing, and then they're just like, they don't know about it, and then they're scared of it. Yeah. That's the big thing, is like, they told us, I heard that so many times, like, don't touch nothing, don't bring nothing home with you. Like, nothing's haunted here except that doll in the corner.
Just one thing. But like we think weird is cool, so like we'll go to these like we'll be like vendors at these fairs, and we'll go around to these booths and see like, oh, like do we want to get anything? And I remember this lady, she used to take these Barbie dolls, and there was these like, instead of like the heads, it was like little like skulls of like
animals.
Oh, like a rat skull or on instead of the head. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I kind of looked at her. I was like, cool. And she's like, no, please say it's weird. I'm like, okay, cool. We're on the same page about that. Cool. Because like, I don't want to be like, oh, that's weird. Like, and then they get offended. Like, what do you mean? Like,
I feel like if you know, you know. Like if you're in the know, you know that weird is like the new. That's the new. Like, you know, that's the new good. Like if somebody's like, oh, you're weird, I like it. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we sell like pendulums and pendulum boards, and we make candles, and we make our own candles and stuff. Yeah. You know, we have some Ouija board bags and stuff like that, and we sell like Ouija boards. But then I make like Care Bears. I cut the faces off and put skulls in them, and we do backpacks.
Get Maisie one of those.
There you go.
And I get backpacks that are animal backpacks. There's ducks and bears and sloths, and I do the same thing. I cut the face out of a Mickey Mouse and put a skull in it. I get so much trouble for that. People are like, how dare you? I'm like, it's okay. I don't judge. Minnie Mouse is at the house the same way. I'm like, I'm not judging. I'm not doing it to just him. But they get so mad about that, you know. But I like it when the other weird people, because our stuff is for the weird. You have to have a certain, you know, and they're like, oh my God, this is my booth. This is my, you know, this is my thing. And I'm like, I know.
It's just like here. Fellow weirdos. I love it.
Fellow weirdos.
That's like, that's why Witches Night Out, like that's our crowd. That's why we do so well at Witches Night Out here in Kimmswick, Missouri. There's about what it sells out. It's a sellout event, and there's about how many people come through?
Oh, there's probably about 2,000 to 5,000 women.
And it's women who dress up as witches all night, and they drink and everything.
Time.
And
I was gonna say we would definitely partake in that.
Oh my gosh!
I'm talking. You have the people that come in with regular clothes and just a witch's hat, and you have the people that dress completely out. And it's like people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome! This is amazing! This is weird," and like that's the crowd. So you got to like have that that niche of a crowd, and when you find it, it's so cool. Everyone's weird and it's amazing.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, it's all like tarot card readers and stuff through the whole town. They block the streets off, so like you get to walk through the whole town and drink and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think the closest
there's
thing I've ever
usually no
been
guys. I'm the only and there's like two other males. Yeah, there's no males are allowed, but you know I own my own company and I sell stuff there, so I have to be there. But
I thought maybe just guys didn't go to it. I was like, you guys gotta change that. You can like
no. It's a woman's event only, and
that's pretty cool.
Stuff. So and it sells out every year in like 6 hours. Like the tickets sell out quick and stuff.
I think the closest we asked is like Lunar Fair.
Oh,
we have a Lunar Fair in New Jersey, from where I'm originally from, and it's really fun. That's like it kind of sounds like that.
So really with fun. You guys just starting out, we always ask our guests, what is your bucket list of all expenses paid? Don't have to worry about money. What is one place in the United States that you would want to investigate, and one place outside of the United States that you would want to investigate? Like your top.
You want to go, Rachel?
Like, really
See, I'm a newbie and it's hard. I don't know. Wherever Morgan's taking me, I'll tag along with Morgan.
All right.
There's not a place out there you've watched shows or listened to people like, you know what? I really want to go here and investigate.
I've been to what's the one in like Pennsylvania? It was a prison.
Oh, Eastern State.
Penhurst.
Yes, I've been there.
And you didn't investigate, or you just went there for a tour?
No, it's a during the day thing.
Wait, Eastern State or Penhurst?
Maybe it's Eastern State. Which one was the prison?
Eastern State is like Philly area.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that was the prison. I've gone there.
That's a pretty good one.
Yes.
I don't know.
Any place out of the States that you would know that you'd want to go?
I'll have to make a list. I'm gonna make a list for the next time, and I will tell you. I'm telling you, when I'm a newbie,
nothing off your head though. Nothing off your head, like over in the States or anything that you would just think.
I don't know. I don't know. You think of those like New England type places, and I know Morgan was trying to get us to go to the Conjuring House. She put that in the group chat.
That's a big first one.
That's a big first one. Well, you're just hitting it right out the door, out the gate there. Well, that's like.
She said we're gonna go to the Conjuring House. I'm like.
I feel like even for our first investigation that me and Taylor did, when we were like going up there, as soon as I started pulling stuff and I started reading, I was like, oh man, I'm like, I have a habit of picking doozies for our I feel like I never pick like a low key spot.
They were like so like you guys were like drained. We were taking these pictures the day after since Taylor was going to be in town, and they were just like, I don't want to say zombies, but they were just like
I was void of human anything.
That's crazy.
We call that the paranormal hangover.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, welcome to the paranormal investigating. Yes. Now try to do 3 nights in 1 weekend.
I give you guys kudos. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough.
We are doing a West Virginia trip in September. We're going Wednesday night. We'll be at Pleasant Point, the Mothman.
Okay.
And then Thursday we go to Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Then Friday we're at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, you guys have to touch base with me after that because I want to hear how that went.
Yeah. And then Saturday we're actually taking the day off because you have to recuperate your energy. And then Sunday night we're doing Sweet Springs Sanitarium and stuff. So, and then we're doing August. We're also going to West Virginia Penitentiary. So I'm knocking West Virginia like off my list.
I want to know what you experienced in West Virginia because I've taken quite a liking to.
You were just talking about that. I feel
the whole Appalachian stuff.
Appalachian, yeah. So I'm interested
to see.
All,
the Appalachian Mountains are all over my TikTok right now, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
I want to hear about that.
That's a crazy stuff that goes on in Appalachia and West Virginia and stuff. So, yeah. We'll definitely. I mean, and then follow us. We do TikTok lives and stuff too. So, we do go live at our investigations and stuff, especially when it's not our. Because we normally hold events where people can come and buy a ticket and investigate with us, and we teach them, the hot spots and teach them how to use equipment, and then we loan our equipment out to them, and they get to be their own investigator. So
I'm sad we don't live closer because I would definitely partake in that.
Yeah. So most times when we're having guests, we try to, work with our guests and stuff. So we don't try to go live and stuff. But when we go out like on our own, we usually go live. Did you move your camera?
Yeah, I hit it.
Oh, okay. I was like, your camera's over there moving on the right. Yeah, I was like, I saw it in the right-hand corner. I was like, what's going on over there? I said, okay, Morgan, what are yours?
Oh, I'm itching. So I'm itching to tell you guys. Waverly Hills is top of my bucket list just because I have just heard that it is just crazy. Like it is just like a looming building and there's just so much there. Okay. So can I have like 2 like in-state ones?
Yeah.
So after getting to know Daryl Marston a little bit and reading his book, House of Wills, and then also partaking in a panel that the Ghost Brothers was doing with a Q&A, they brought up the House of Wills. And so it reminds me of House on Haunted Hill vibes. And that was like one of my favorite movies. And I'm like, this really intrigues me because of the kind of activity that goes on there and just the different multitude and levels and layers that seem to exist there. So I think that that's why I would love to experience that for myself, but I'm also weary because I've heard it's like really, I guess, dangerous. Like you have to be very careful. Mm-hmm. So I really want to, those are probably like my 2 bucket lists for in the States. And then I think my out of states would be Caerphilly Castle in Wales, in Cardiff, because growing up, so my grandmother is straight off the boat from Wales. That's where her and her siblings grew up, and then they came over here when I believe she was a teenager. So she would tell me stories like I was the weirdo kid, and I'd be like, Grandma, tell me scary stories before bed, and she would come up with the craziest stuff, but she would tell me some of her true stories, and those were my favorites. So she would tell me stories about how they used to play in the old castles, because like in Wales where their houses were, there would just be old abandoned castles, and so there wasn't a huge need for like, you know, playgrounds, and because the kids would just play tag or hide and seek, and they would go in these stone buildings, these castles, and what was left over of some of these places. And one of the common stories that she always used to tell me about was the Lady in the Mist. And so there's this story about this lady that they would see. Apparently her husband went off to war, he was killed in action, and she waited for him every day, and then when she finally learned of his death, she jumped from one of the towers of those castles. And my grandmother said that one day when her and her siblings were playing outside, she said it started to rain. So as they were going back home, she said she looked behind her and saw from the castle on the concrete, so concrete's completely soaking wet, she said she saw dry footprints start to appear and then disappear. And she was like, you know, like crazy stuff. She said stuff like in Europe was just insane. And that was also why a Ouija board was never allowed in my house growing up. She had some experiences with that as well. And she said Europe was just like, they had lots of crazy stuff.
Well, you would kind of imagine because it's older than we are. I mean, you know, they were there before United States was here. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happened over there that, you know, that'd be cool to be able to play in castles all day long.
Yeah, she said it was really cool. She said it was cool. It was just like the norm. Like there's just, you know, whatever was left over, there's big rock pieces, and that's kind of like what they would play on. And my grandfather was a coal miner. So, well, my great grandfather. And so like she used to tell me too about like some of the mines, like if there was accidents, because it wasn't safe back then. And so if a mine collapsed, or, you know, she said that probably didn't help the case either, because you had men, you know, that were unfortunately lost, and you can't really retrieve them. So
Matt, do you have any comments? I meant to ask you that earlier. I can't see.
I know. Let's see.
I'm on full screen. So
Brandy said, how the hell would you get the whale home? Oh, about the whale.
About shooting the whale outside the car window. Apparently, maybe that was the problem, Brandy. That's what it was. That you know, that's why people had to stop shooting whales outside, because they couldn't take them home.
Yeah. Brandy said, no, that's great content. Talking about when you were the whole no over the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. It's a good TikTok video. I that night I was just like,
yeah. She said, "Oh, I'd be out." She said, "I'd be out."
Like, stop. Okay, I'm out.
That's what it sounded like. It was
like, stop. Stacy said you should name the doll Fu Hei. Yes.
Fu Hei.
Means outwardly kind and inwardly evil.
Kind of like that.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Fu Hei.
Lauren said finally made it. Had a late meeting.
Hey, there's Lauren.
That's it so far. But I will say, so I am also like a true crime junkie. And one of my bucket list is obviously, if it would be safe, the Cecil Hotel.
We can discuss this again like last week.
Yes, we are. We're gonna bring this up again.
We did a whole
that way it brings, and then also the Roosevelt Hotel, because that's the last place the Black Dahlia was seen alive, supposedly. So those are like my true crimes meeting with the paranormal. But yeah, no. Yes, we're talking about this. We talked about it last week, and because we're gonna hopefully make a trip down to California.
That would be he was over, like, not down. Just to let you know, it's over.
Sorry, we'll make the trip down to California.
No, it's not down. It's over.
Did you not just say that it's down, not over?
No, I said it's not down. It's over. It's west. It's over.
Okay.
Anyway, it's all right. I do the same thing with New Jersey and Delaware. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go down in New Jersey. They're like, you're going up to New Jersey. You're going down to Delaware.
Yeah. I can't handle him. He's for free. If anyone wants to take
last week was from California, and she's like, Alcatraz is like my bucket list. Like, I would love to investigate Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And this lady had, so she was on and was like, my whole week was like set for that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the Cecil Hotel, and they're like, oh, you get like, shanked there.
I was
like, what? I was like,
in this perfect world, I said, in the perfect world, it's safe.
Yeah.
In the ghost hunting world, we'd like to think it's safe so we can investigate it, but
we don't worry about that in the ghost hunting world. So apparently, the Cecil Hotel is not the greatest neighborhood. Apparently,
no, it is not at all. But
yeah, it was funny too because go on.
Go ahead.
No, we were talking about that, and I just happened to watch. I don't know what it was. I think it came across my TikTok. It was the whole American Horror when they're at the hotel one where they were guests. They were saying it was the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, American Horror Stories, yeah.
Yeah. After we just discussed it, it was like, that's weird. One of those weird things in the world that,
listening to you.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, before I forget, so have you guys heard of the House in Between?
No.
I've heard of that.
So if you haven't watched it, I think as a paranormal investigator, you would probably really enjoy it because it's a really awesome mix of like paranormal and like scientific. That's another like bucket list place. John Bullard, Brad Cooney, and Alice Jackson. They have the House in Between 1 and 2, but it's in Mississippi, Florence, Mississippi. So I think it's about 8 hours from you guys. I mean, it's a little bit of a drive, but it's drivable, and I think you guys would really love to like. Alice is salt of the earth. She's so awesome. But the house itself, like, just from watching the videos and watching other people's investigations there, I'm like, I said to Brad, I was like, I gotta get down there because it just looks like a really awesome location. So when you guys said you were in Missouri, I was like, oh, I think it's about 8 hours, right? It might be a good.
I was just looking. I was trying to scan it on my phone to see how far it is.
Yeah.
It might be a cool location.
Florence, Mississippi.
Well, I think it's Florence, Mississippi. Yeah.
Florence. Did anybody else hear a piano, by the way? Or am I
just did, yeah.
I just heard a note, yes.
Okay. Because my phone's off.
Yeah, mine didn't do anything. I was like, what's that?
Everyone.
Just like a doo.
Yeah, I was like a dune. I'm like,
I just heard it again. I was like,
yeah, the House in Between. It is in Florence.
It wouldn't be the organ that made that noise, right?
So how far is Florence, Mississippi from us? 9 hours. 9 hours and 29 minutes. So
it's a little bit of a drive.
About 8.5 hours.
Yeah.
We always cut an hour off of everything we do. We're like,
we can make it there at 8.
Yeah, but I mean,
if we're going down there, we might as well just go over to New Orleans too. Shit.
There you go. Just do a paranormal pit stop.
I mean, that place.
Where?
That's crazy.
New Orleans.
I don't think that was the pipe. We have a pipe organ up here in this room. We carried it up the steps.
Standard grand piano, like it was just like a dun.
Yeah.
So we're on the second floor of a building, and we carried a pipe. So the room is supposed to be like in a Victorian library, is what we're trying to make this room into looking like. So I carried a pipe organ up the steps. So we have this huge, beautiful pipe organ in here, but I don't think it was that. It was weird. It was just like,
ding.
Yeah,
that's what I made.
It must be them because they hear things through their microphone.
I'm telling you, I feel like Rachel. I swear to God, if you glitch again, if you freeze again, I'm coming over your
Rachel's
house. Yeah,
but she has the back all blurry, right? You have your background blurry.
Yeah, that's because I couldn't figure out how to get the picture the first time we did this.
Oh, okay. I was like, I kept looking at it the whole time. I'm like, Is that
Of the
blurry? Is that
grandma
my eyes?
over
I know
here.
I'm blind.
And Rachel's background is just
cool,
time
though.
warping.
Yeah, she looks like she's time warping there. She's like right in the front.
Yeah.
Lauren said she stayed at the Cecil and didn't get shanked. You will be fine. See, look.
Lauren stayed at, what was she doing at the Cecil?
I don't know. Maybe she was just
water
hanging
tanks
out.
at the top.
Just don't crawl into water tanks.
That one's forever. Like that's one of my like top ones of like what the heck? What
If
happened?
Don't play the
Before I-
elevator game.
All right, so I have to question, since you do true crime, and I know about that story, and we watched like the documentary
Yes.
on that and stuff. So, what is your take on the whole situation? of that?
We did a lot of research behind it, and there are these, was it Japanese games?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it was like
this
this
elevator
elevator
game.
game. And so we went into this thing about the elevator game and going into different like portals and different places, and like
But it's the way that you push the buttons, right?
Yeah.
It was like you have to do it. So you have to go to one floor. You have to go, like, it's a number sequence. So you have to go to, like, I'm just going to make something up, so don't quote me on this, but it's like go to the 3rd floor, then you have to go down to the basement, then you have to go to the 7th floor, then you have to go down to the 1st floor, and then you have to go up to the 11th, right, all the way to the basement, and then all the way to the top. And they say when the doors open, weird stuff's gonna happen. So it's like it's
supposed to be a lady or something, and you're supposed to get in and out, and
without acknowledging her. Yeah.
So you think she was playing that game?
And I think there were reports of her being on some kind of like meds too. So like if she was not in the right frame of mind too, you know, I don't think anyone put her in there. I think it was all her, you know, if she was in the right frame of mind with all of that.
That was, but they said that lid is pretty heavy for one person to be able to lift like her size.
Yeah.
To get in that water tank
That just
or
is,
whatever
like,
it is.
the people like showering and the water's funny and it's like, ugh, like
people were drinking.
Yes.
That I say,
be like, babe, this water tastes funny.
Yes.
I will like say, like, I think I've heard, I can't remember how people say it, but it's like if I could know what happened, that's the one case that I'd be like, okay, what happened? If I could, if someone were to come up and go, if any unsolved murder case, true crime, if you could just have one crime that you know the information, I'd say at least Lamb.
I'm a very basic John Bonet as well.
Yeah.
John Bonet, now that one is still to this day not that one. I'm like,
I personally still think it was the family.
I think it's the mom.
You think it was the mom?
The mom had some kind of weird like jealousy towards her, like pushing her to do all those like pageants and things. Like, I don't know.
You see that a lot in like pageant, like no offense to any pageant moms, I'm sure there's some great ones out there, but I feel like you see that a lot in that like field. Like I feel like there's a lot of
in that field,
like stage mom. I don't know, like I don't know what to call it, like
that line of work.
Hey, I watch Dance Moms. My guilty reality thing is I watch Dance Moms.
Your guilty pleasure.
And yeah, it was my guilty reality stuff, my crappy TV, but they are vicious.
Yes,
but that's what I'm saying. They're very like it's almost like they're trying to just live it through their child. And if they're not living up to like that expectation, like I feel like that could get
the funny thing about it is when they argue and yell at each other, they film like they show the kids and they're like
you're psycho.
What are you arguing about? I'm the one that's dancing and like they're just like, you know,
that's
they
why
just
Honey
never.
Boo Boo was my favorite. She took no crap. She was like, let me tell you something, Mama June.
To this day, she still does. If you haven't, I've seen TikToks like she still to this day.
She don't care.
Like she like apparently. Mama June stole all kinds of money from her, and she's like, "I want my money." It's like it was Honey Boo Boo. It wasn't Mama June's show. It was Honey Boo Boo. I want my money.
I think it was either the mom or the brother, and the dad's just in the middle of it. And
it's just weird that like
they all know what happened.
The note that was left is like eerily similar to her handwriting, and that they wanted the amount of money that he just got, like a bonus or a raise or something like that. Like the amount of money was like oddly specific.
Yeah. I think the brother, okay, now that you say that, I think it was the mom and the brother saw it.
Yeah.
He saw what happened, what they did, and now it's just
but what did they do with the body? What'd they do with her?
She was in the basement.
I was like, wasn't she in the basement?
Oh, that's right. She was in the basement.
They found her. Well, yeah, no, they found her in the basement.
So long ago, man.
And then they called like people over, and like there were all kinds of people in the house, and they were trying to clean
touching
up,
everything.
and like, that's not suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watch court TV all the time, so
we all.
I try to get my
like you guys for a reason.
I get my P's and Q's all right about how to commit a crime. So
I grew up with my Nana watching Judge Judy and Law and Order SVU, so that was it. We were always watching SVU.
That show is like I can commit the perfect crime. I watch these shows, and stuff. You're like, oh, that's the wrong thing to do, buddy.
Like you're
like, what was you thinking?
Yeah. Still going on with the true crime thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of, but the Cabin 18 or whatever it is, about that family that had was all murdered in one of the cabins. It's like burnt down now. So it was a single mom, and she had her 5 children come to a cabin, and there was one best friend that came over and spent the night. And then next morning, one of the daughters who had spent the night at another cabin came home and saw her mother, 2 of her siblings dead in the floor. And then there was 2 missing for about a year. 1 year later, the police get an anonymous call saying, here's the bodies. And it was only 3 miles from that cabin, and the bodies were buried. And they still to this day could not figure out who it was. And I think, and the craziest thing is there was the friend who there was, so it was was it one buried out, and then there was 2 kids that were murdered with the mom in the living room, but then there was like 2 kids in the back bedroom that were still alive. They were left alive. They were sleeping with the friend that had stayed the night at their cabin.
That's
what?
Yeah.
This is what my daughter does in her basement.
It's crazy. And I'm like, and you'll
maybe you should be on their show, because
I was
literally
just gonna say, I'm like, we should bring back True Crime Tuesday, and you need to come on so we can talk some true crime.
Oh my gosh,
that's her thing. That's her thing. She loves true crime.
Yeah, the true crime stuff on TikTok where I like deep dive to video, and when that Micah Miller stuff was happening, which like I got into a really weird rabbit hole. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna say it here.
It was really weird. Rachel started fearing for her life at one point. She was like, I can't disclose this.
That's like me and was it the Idaho murders? Oh man, I went into a deep.
I know we've gone totally off the rack about this, but hey,
I don't care.
Did you see the new video? Did you see the new video now? The girl at the
food truck.
Was it the liquor? No, I think she was in the store, and the video says, "Only if I could tell you not to go home, I would tell you right now not to go home." And I guess it's one of the ladies that got killed. That they're showing her like she was outside with her boyfriend or the friend before they went home, and his friend was at the food truck where he wanted to go to another bar, and she said, "No, I don't want to." She wanted to go home, and she's like, "If only she went to another bar, or and stuff like." I just saw that video on TikTok.
Yeah,
I was like, "That's crazy to think that that's that kind of one small little direction of and that's why." I know it's weird, and I'm not saying this, but like when people say, "Oh, I got stuck at this light," or "This guy didn't go right away," and I had to sit through a second light. There's a reason why that happened, because somewhere down in your life, you were not supposed to be at a certain spot,
or you miss a plane, or you are running 20 minutes behind and you lose track of time. You're like, I always think that always happens for a reason.
Now we're getting into Final Destinations.
Hey, when you said you were a true crime junkie, I was like, okay.
I know. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh my god, Madison, their fanboy or whatever.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't get to talk about it enough. Me and my best friend, her name's Maddie as well. And
Big Red.
Me and her will sit. I'll drop her off. I'm like, hey, I'm dropping off Big Red, and then I'm coming home. And they're like, okay, that's fine. Next thing you know, it's 3 hours later. They're going, what happened? I was like, we were literally talking about true crime in her driveway. Like we will.
Like 3 hours later, you're taking her home.
Me and her were like,
But it's so
should we start a
interesting.
podcast? Like just true crime podcast? Like, oh my gosh. I have so much.
It's interesting. And like we've had a couple of like real life true crime people on ours. We had Holly Dunn. Holly Dunn was on our podcast, and she is just absolutely amazing. She was the only survivor of the railroad killer.
Wow.
And hearing her like testament to just how she overcame that and then what she's done with it afterwards, I'll tell you what, when you start to really, really get into true crime and not just the story, but start to actually look at like, you know, people who have overcome it, the family stories, and you really start to kind of get into it, because we realize, you know, when we started getting into true crime, you really have to get in it, and like you have to learn, because if you're going to report it or you're going to talk about it, you got to have your, you know, P's and Q's, like you got to make sure you're on. And getting to have some, you know, real life true crime warriors on our podcast was crazy. We had Charlie Shunick's Mickey Shunick's sister Charlie on. Mickey Shunick was she was fatally shot after she was kidnapped, and that was a New Orleans case, and it was one of the largest I think it was one of the largest search parties that had ever commenced, just from the general public, like people just kind of joining in. It was insane. And Charlie, again, she's amazing. She has created a missing persons like agency. She helps people kind of walk families through that so that they don't get scammed, so that they, you know, are educated. It's really cool. So true crime it's a whole creature.
I have two things, just I don't know exactly their names on it, but the one is the husband that killed the wife and the kids and dumped them.
Shanann Watts.
Yeah, Shanann Watts. So I would love to go investigate that house.
Yes.
Because there's so many videos of like the little girls' voices in there, seeing the shadows on the stairs. And it's little stuff that you can't really because I'm a big debunker. I'll debunk anything first before I say it's paranormal. And it's just really hard to hear voices, and it's not just one voice, it's multiple voices they hear in that house that they have videos and stuff. And
lives just there now.
Oh, do they live there now? Oh,
and they're going through some stuff. They're like going through a divorce, and there's been like domestic violence, and I think people said they were fine before they moved in.
Yeah,
they should just knock that place down.
Like the Amityville Horror House. And
That's
then and then my other one is, and I'm trying to think of her name. She killed her daughter with chloroform in the
Kaylee.
Yeah, Kaylee. Yeah. So do you think the father has something to do with that?
Yeah.
I think it was a two-man job.
I don't understand how that woman is out and walking.
I honestly think she's a sociopath. Like, I think she is just a cold, like, I don't think she's capable. I don't know if it was like maybe she had a psychosis episode, but I think that there was something there where like there was just no, I don't know.
And her parents are just so
weird.
Not right either.
No.
I'm just like, I'm like, I don't understand how she is not in prison. The baby, the kid, she did it. I mean, it's just weird how
it's crazy.
It is crazy. But maybe we'll have to have him back on, or maybe we'll have to have us on. We'll talk about true crime instead of
true
paranormal.
crime.
Yeah, we're gonna have you guys on ours,
and I'm gonna bring all of my little ones that I have that I found, and I'm gonna actually like sit down and like.
Rachel's gonna go look up Cabin 18 now.
Do it, please. Oh my gosh.
If you want, Maddie, if you want a good, there's two podcasts that I listen to. One of them is like my absolute favorite. It's called Unseen. It's a quick 30-35 minutes, and I love them because they're just kind of to the point, but they're so like captivating. There is some really good true crime stories that I've never heard on there, and chef's kiss.
Oh, I'll have to do that. I always listen. I'm like on the way to school, and that's like 7 a.m, and I'm listening to like this man murdered and shot the girl. I'm like, wow.
That's me while I'm working, and my husband always walks behind me and he goes, her arms were cut off, her head was cut off.
She was decapitated, and I'm like, wow, like eating. Oh my!
That's my kid.
I'm telling you.
Hey, fellow weirdos. We love
weirdos.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So where can everybody find your podcast?
So you can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and it's the Goulfriend Hour Podcast. If you have any fun videos, stories, or any kind of submissions, we're the Goulfriend Hour Pod at gmail.com. And I think everything else is just the Goulfriend Hour Podcast. Yeah. I don't think there's anything different.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're in New Jersey and you're in Delaware?
We're both in Delaware now. I'm originally from New Jersey. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Delaware is kind of far up there. If I go up to Delaware, I've got to hit the Conjuring House if I'm that close.
Yeah.
Listen, if you guys end up hitting the Conjuring House, let us know because we'll join you. We can get a group thing going, especially because it's so expensive. I'm like, we got to get a big group of us so we can cut that price down.
Well, now you can camp out on the property now. And
it's like a whole thing. You can like build your own paranormal package. It's like if you want to add the outside in, it's like the whole thing.
It's crazy.
I used to work for a big group called GHU, Gross Hunt USA. Before they folded and everything, but that was one of their locations they had, and I was so close to being sent up there because someone had canceled. One of the investigators had canceled, and
how did you feel about that?
Oh, I was going. I was like, yeah, I'm going.
He's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to take you, but I'm going. And I had this.
I'm like, the work's going to pay me to go there and get paid. I was like, I'm definitely going. But another lady went and she spent 3 days because it was like a 3-day event that they have, 3 different events. And she said the first night there is like, oh, that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen. That door didn't open, and then the second night you're like, oh yeah, it did happen. That is going on. And then the third night she was like, I was just like, okay. It's like it was to the point now. She had her hands full and she was walking in and the door just opened up for her. Like she was walking.
That was very nice.
Yeah, it was just like the door just opened up, and she's like, "Yep, I know." She was like the second and third night. She was like, "Yep, that did happen." Well, yeah, that did, and stuff. But yeah,
I like that though. I'd rather deal with like a convenient, like thoughtful ghost than like if I'm walking with my hands full and they slam the door at my face. Like,
well, that's what I liked what you said about the whole demon thing. I'm like. That word is getting thrown around so much now on TikTok and everything about demon.
To evoke fear. It's a fear. It's a fear thing. Get a rise out of people and sell more, media, Hollywood, but that's not always the case. So
I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you're an asshole in real life, you're going to be an asshole in the afterlife. So there are heavy, dark, mean, but they're not demonic, and stuff like that. So
few and far between.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you.
We had a blast. We'll definitely get together and do a true crime one soon.
Appreciate it.
Yes. And if we get out that way, we'll let you know. Yes. We'll collab.
Awesome.
She's all about that.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on and everything. And let us know if you get this way, if you're coming this way or anywhere like Ohio or anything like that. There's lots of places in Ohio. We love to collaborate and come hang out and stuff.
That's our goal. 2025, baby. We're going to do more traveling, more ghost hunting. So we'll definitely put you guys on our bucket list.
All righty. Sounds good. Thank you
so much.
All right.
Bye.
Oh. All righty. Well, that was... you were in love there. I know you were.
Oh, I was fangirling. As soon as she said true crime junkie, I was like, all right, I'm going to wait to the end of this podcast and I'm going to just. And then she was
for how long you were going to do this too.
And then she was like, oh, I don't have any bucket lists. I'm like, oh, I have one for you. So the Cecil Hotel, because I'm a true crime junkie. And I was like, I know exactly where to take this convo. Oh, no.
So. Just to let everybody know, this weekend, Haunted American Hauntings in Alton and Godfrey. It's at Lewis and Clark College. Come see us. We'll be there Friday and Saturday, like 2:00 Friday to like I think 9:00 Friday night, 7:00 Friday.
Yeah.
And then Saturday is all day until 5.
Yep.
No
I'll
Sunday.
Be there Friday.
Maddie will be there Friday. I know Jeannie and Susan will be out there. Lauren and Gina will be there. Which is Familiar will be out there.
Yeah, I wish I was there all weekend, but
I don't know if Haunted Garage will be out there this year again. So I'd see if Jeremy and stuff are out there. So it'll be kind of cool to see some of the people that were out there last year and stuff.
Yeah, I got my last softball tournament this weekend, and then I'm done for the season.
Yep. And then the following weekend, we are in Kansas City, right outside Raven, Missouri, at Ray County Museum.
Yeah.
Come on out. Heidi Taylor will be there. She will be holding a spirit gallery. You'll get that with your ticket price. So she will be holding a spirit gallery and everything. Maddie, I don't think you'll be there that weekend.
I don't know.
Taking care of the dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. Just depends.
I think you're dog sitting again. So I told you can take that weekend off since.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to look. Oh, next week is lady from Ray County. I think I'm gonna have her come on for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I try to think what there was another group. I can't remember. I can't remember who the other group was. I forgot. But then the following week will be nope, not that quick. The following week, I don't know who it is. The 2 weeks will be Santiago and Scott from when we do the Scared City Paranormal Horror Fest.
Yeah.
In July. So come check us out. Thanks everybody for coming. Anything else you want to add? Any comments there?
Lauren said I stayed there 2 nights when I visited LA in 2011. I'm pretty sure I told you about that. LOL. And Aunt Kathy said New Orleans Cemetery night tour is great.
Yes.
My mother saw stuff at that tour. So no, just thank you again for showing your support again this week.
We did hear some creepy things. That piano tune thing was, I don't know if everybody else heard it.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody heard it on here. We'll have to go back and see if we can hear it. Because that was creepy. Because everyone like kind of talked over it, and I was like, okay, maybe no one heard it. And then I was like, okay, did anybody else hear that? Because it's
we heard it. I heard it too. It was like I was looking at the phone at the time. So
that's the second time I heard a piano.
Maybe it's just you.
Maybe it's me. I don't know. But alrighty, guys.
Alrighty, everybody.
So
come out and see us this weekend. Yes, and everything. And stay spooky. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.